Shabbat Shalom Yasharallah. We are on week 8 of our Torah portions, covering Genesis 32 all the way through Genesis 36. This would be from the time Jacob leaves Laban and ventures to go back home to the land of Canaan. But let's start off with a prayer. Heavenly Abba, Haya in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thank you for allowing us to be here in your presence, Heavenly Father. Please put the Ruach Kodesh within us and guide this message, because we know that it is the only teacher, and we just want to be guided by you and you alone, Abba. We ask that you push anything that's not of your kingdom away from us, especially right now, but throughout this week, Heavenly Father, that we walk to do your will and to walk in righteousness and to walk in light. We ask that you convict us from anything that we are doing that you frown upon, Heavenly Father, that we do not want to disappoint you. We thank you for just giving us the spirit to be here right now and to know that we should be yearning to keep your commandments, and that we should be meditating on your word day and night, which is the entire point of learning your Torah. So in the name of Yasha, Shabbat, Shalom, and Amen. Lahaim. All right, let's do this. Starting off with the timeline. According to this timeline, we are within 17 to 1800 BC. We are finally getting to the 12 patriarchs, the 12 sons of Jacob, Yaakov. This is the time. Yes. So the 12 sons of Jacob. We see this is Genesis 35 right here. We're starting off at Genesis 32. And then right here we have Genesis 29. So we're just about right here, all the way through the 12 sons of Jacob in this Torah portion. All right, without further ado, let's get on it. It's like we have a lot to cover, so stay with me. We're going to be rolling in this Torah portion. A lot of good details in here. So let's not hesitate. We're going to start off Genesis 32, and we're going to just read verses 1 and 2, and we're going to take a pause. Let's get this going. Be ready. We got Jasher, Targums, Jubilees, and the rest of the canon, even the peek at Gad the Seer in this Torah portion. So jam-packed. Let's get it on. I said, let's get it on.
Genesis 32. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's host." And he called the name of that place Mahanaim.
All right, we're stopping right there. Mahanaim is what he called the place where he saw angels. Well, we're going to read the book of Jasher, and, might seem like a contradiction at first, but we'll look into it throughout this Torah portion here. So we're going to go through the book of Jasher, chapter 31, verse 64 through 77 in this time frame. So let's remember, last week, chapter 31, he met up, well, Laban caught up with them, and he's just now leaving from talking with and coming to agreement, a peaceful separation of Laban. And now he's about to leave, but then the angels, it says the angels of the Most High met him. So that's where we're at. Just want to make sure we remember from last week. 64, and Esau heard all the words of Laban's messengers, and his anger was greatly kindled against Jacob. So remember, that's what I was saying. During the time that Laban was with Jacob and his family, Laban sent messengers to Esau. That's why I wanted to point that out, because it's completely connected to what we're going off of right now. And he remembered his hatred, and his anger burned within him. And Esau hastened and took his children and servants and the souls of his household, being 60 men. And he went and assembled all the children of Seir, the Horite, and their people, bring 340 men, and took all this number of 400 men with drawn swords. And he went unto Jacob to smite him. And Esau divided this number into several parts. And he took the 60 men of his children and the servants and the souls of his household as one head, and gave them in the care of Eliphaz, his eldest son. And the remaining heads he gave to the care of the 6 sons of Seir, the Horite, and he placed every man over his generations and children. And the whole of this camp went as it was, and Esau went amongst them toward Jacob, and he conducted them with speed. And Laban's messengers departed from Esau and went to the land of Canaan, and they came to the house of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. And they told her saying, behold, thy son Esau has gone against his brother Jacob with 400 men, for he heard that he was coming, and is gone to make war with him, and to smite him, and to take all that he has. And Rebekah hastened and sent 70 men from the service of Isaac to meet Jacob on the road. For she said, peradventure Esau may make war in the road when he meets him. And these messengers went on the road to meet Jacob, and met him in the road of the brook on the opposite side of the brook of Jabbok. And Jacob said when he saw them, this camp is destined to me from Elohim. And Jacob called the name of that place, I already forgot how to pronounce it, Namim. So this is the same thing that he says, this is Elohim's hosts, and he calls them angels right here. But this host from Elohim in the book of Jasher is the servants of Isaac. But there could be more to this, which we're going to cover at the beginning of Genesis 33. But as of right now, it was the host that was destined to me from Elohim is Isaac's servants. That is stated in the canon. And Jacob knew all his father's people, and he kissed them and embraced them and came with them. And Jacob asked them concerning his father and mother, and they said they were well. And these messengers said unto Jacob, Rebekah, thy mother has sent us to thee, saying, I have heard, my son, that thy brother Esau has gone forth against thee on the road with men from the children of Seir the Horite. And therefore, my son, hearken to my voice, and see with thy counsel what thou wilt do. And when he cometh up to thee, and supplicate him, and do not speak rashly to him, and give him a present from what thou possessest, and from what Elohim has favored with thee. And when he asks thee concerning thy affairs, conceal nothing from him. Perhaps he may turn from his anger against thee, and thou wilt thereby save thy soul, thou and all belonging to thee. For it is thy duty to honor him, for he is thy elder brother. And when Jacob heard the words of his mother, which the messengers had spoken to him, Jacob lifted up his voice and wept bitterly, and did as his mother then commanded him. Okay. Now we're going to go to the Targums. We're going to read verses 1 through 3, chapter 32 in the Targums. Let me see. Here we go. 1 through 3. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of the Most High met with him. So the Targums even say angels. But like I said, we're going to see that there could be a connection at the beginning of 33. So just hold on tight to this thought that he's calling the angels, Isaac's servants, angels. Maybe he's not. But either way, they are acknowledged in the book of Jasher as a host of the Most High, regardless. And Jacob said when he saw them, these are not the hosts of Esau who are coming to meet me, nor the hosts of Laban who had returned from pursuing me, but they are the hosts of the holy angels who are sent from before the Most High. Therefore, the name of that place he called in the language of the sanctuary, Ma. Yeah, you got it. All right. All that being said, let's continue. We're going to read 3 through 5 now.
And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. I have oxen and asses, flocks and men servants and women servants. And I have sent to tell my lord that I may find grace in thy sight.
All right, we're going to stop here because this is jam-packed. And I want to cover as we're going over the story. So now Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau. Now let's go into the book of Jasher, chapter 32, verses 7 through 12. And those messengers went to Esau. So that's why we're going into it, stopping it, because we're going into the details of what happened with the messengers, because the next verse, they already are back. And those messengers went to Esau and found him on the borders of the land of Edom, going towards Jacob. And 400 men of the children of Seir the Horite were standing with drawn swords. And the messengers of Jacob told Esau all the words that Jacob had spoken to them concerning Esau. And Esau answered them with pride and contempt, and said unto them, Surely I have heard, and truly it has been told unto me what Jacob has done to Laban, who exalted him in his house and gave him his daughters for wives, and he begat sons and daughters, and abundantly increased in wealth and in riches in Laban's house through his means. And when he saw that his wealth was abundant and his riches great, he fled with all belonging to him from Laban's house. And he led Laban's daughters away from the face of their father as captives, taken by the sword without telling him of it. So we know that's a lie, right? You remember, they willfully asked to come with them. To the wives, Rachel and Leah asked to go with Jacob. So we know that's not true at all. And not only to Laban has Jacob done thus, but also unto me has he done so, and has twice supplemented me, and shall I be silent? Now, therefore, I have this day come with my camps to meet him, and I will do unto him according to the desire of my heart. Scary. So that's what happened between the messengers and Esau. All right, so now we're going to get a good chunk in now. We're going to read 6 through 21.
And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, We came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. And he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks and herds, and the camels, into 2 bands, and said, If Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. And Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which saidest unto me, Return unto thy country, and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies, and of all the truth which thou hast shown unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And thou saidest, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats, and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams, 30 milch camels with their coats, 40 kine, and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses, and 10 foals. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, Pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, When Esau my brother meeteth thee, and asketh thee, saying, Whose art thou? And whither goest thou? And whose are these before thee? Then thou shalt say, They be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau, and behold, also he is behind us. And so commanded he the second and the third, and all that followed the drove, saying, On this manner shall ye speak unto Esau, when ye find him. And say ye moreover, Behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me, and afterward I will see his face. Peradventure he will accept of me. So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company.
All right. We're going to pause there. So we have him just sending out presents, pleading with the Most High for help, etc., etc. So let's we're going to go to the Targum. We're just going to read one verse, verse 8, to make a point here, an early point in this Torah portion. We're going to see a very big part of this Torah portion is keeping your oath with the Most High. It feels like I've been building up to this Torah portion in my real life studies for the last few weeks, and I didn't even know about it. All right. So we're going to read verse 8. All right. Verse 8 in the Targum starts off, okay, here to here. And Jacob was greatly afraid, because for 20 years he had not been mindful of the glory of his father. And he had anxiety, and he divided the people who were with him, the sheep and oxen and camels, into 3 troops. I don't know why it says 3. It's very clear that it's 2. 2 troops for a portion, and it even tells you to Leah and to a portion for Rachel. So that's 2. I have no idea why they that much just might be a typo of some sorts. But 2 portions, 2 parties. Leah and Rachel is what they were divided in. I don't know if you meant to raise your hand, but if you have a question, just write it down there, and if it pertains to the study, I'll respond. All right. So I just want to. The reason I wanted to point out this verse was right here. We're going to see that Jacob, everything about Jacob's last 20 years in Haran is that he grown in wealth, in stature as a man. We've seen that he has a flock of cattle, goats, cows, you name it. He has, right here it says, sheep, oxen, camels. He has everything he needs. He has 2 portions, 2 wives, 2 families, in a sense of the portions that is divided right here. And in this entire time, what is he just now realizing? For 20 years, he had not been mindful of the glory of his father. Ooh, we're going to get on this. We're going to expound on this as this Torah portion develops. Now we're going to go to Jasher 32. We're going to read 22 verses to 26. So 32, yeah, this is 32, 22 through 26 now. So on that note, this is just Jasher expounding on the same moment. This is what Jacob has to say. Well, I'm going to just start on 21 for context. Now, therefore, O Elohim, deliver me, I pray thee, also from the hands of my brother Esau, for I am greatly afraid of him. And if there is no righteousness in me, do it for the sake of Abraham and my father Isaac. For I know that through kindness and mercy have I acquired this wealth. Now, therefore, I beseech thee to deliver me this day with thy kindness and to answer me. And Jacob ceased praying to the Most High, and he divided the people. He divided the people that were with him and with the flocks and cattle into 2 camps. So definitely 2 camps. Oops. Oh, always does that. 2 camps. And he gave half to the care of Damasek, the son of Eleazar, and Abraham's servant. That's Abraham's servant. He's still rolling and kicking for a camp. Well, I don't know, actually. I don't know if I don't remember is Eleazar actually alive. We're talking about his son, though. And with his children, and the other half he gave to the care of his brother Elianus, the son of Eleazar. So 2 sons of Eleazar are now the servants of Jacob to be for a camp with his children. And he commanded them, saying, keep yourselves at a distance with your camps, and do not come to near each other. And if Esau come to one camp and slay it, the other camp at a distance from it will escape him. And Jacob tarried there that night, and during the whole night he gave his servants instructions concerning the forces and his children. So the buildup is real right now. Let's go back and let's finish the chapter of Genesis 32, starting at 22. 22 through 32.
He rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. Then Jacob was left alone. And there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel. For I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Penuel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh, unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank.
All right. Woo! This part is packed. Here's the oath that I've been mentioning earlier. Here we go. So we're going to go to the Targums, same chapter 32, and we're going to read 25 and 26 in the Aramaic Targum translation here. Okay, so 25 and 26 is all of this right here. If you haven't heard me before, the online translation of the Aramaic Targum doesn't have verses, so that's why kind of hard to follow along when you are just trying to find one verse, but we got it. All right, verse 25. And Jacob remained alone beyond the place, and an angel contended with him in the likeness of a man. And he said, hast thou not promised to give the 10th of all that is thine? Here it is. What was the purpose when we go to the Masoretic manuscript, the KJV? What's the purpose of him wrestling with an angel? Anybody? None. There's no purpose why he's like angels just walking around to wrestle, right? Like that's normal. What's the purpose of him wrestling with an angel of the Most High? It's because an angel was sent to Jacob. Because thou hast made a promise, hast thou not promised to give the 10th of all that is thine? And behold, thou hast 10 sons and 1 daughter. Nevertheless, thou hast not tithed them. Immediately, he set apart the 4 firstborns of the 4 mothers, and there remained 8, and he began to number from Simeon, and Levi came up for the 10th. And they actually name it, I'm not, there's no other witness to this. I'm not gun-ho on saying that this is Michael, but it is an angel of the Most High. I'm not saying I agree or disagree, just saying. The angel, Archangel Michael, answered and said, Adon of the world is thy lot. And on account of these things, he remained from Elohim at the Torah till the column of the morning was ascending. And he saw that he had no power to hurt him. And he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was distorted in his contending with him. So what is going on here, family? We see the purpose an angel was sent. If you remember when we were going over circumcision earlier in this these Torah portions, and I went and I covered a verse in the book of Joshua with Moses, how a destroying angel went to Moses to slay him because he didn't keep the covenant of circumcision. So this is kind of the same idea. An angel was sent to Jacob because he did not keep an oath that he made to the Most High. So where is this oath? We're going to get to that in Genesis 28, but first we're going to go to, I want to point out when the thigh, the purpose of the thigh. This is man, I feel like this story is so overlooked. That's why I'm going in on it right now. from the reason why the angel was there to the thigh being the hollowed out of his thigh. All of the meaning, it all correlates. Of course it does, right? So going Jasher 24, reading from the Targums, Genesis 24, verses 2 and 3. Well, I'll just start from the top here. Abraham was old in his days, and the word of the Most High had blessed Abraham with every kind of blessing. Abraham said to Eleazar, his servant, the senior of his house, who had ruled over all his property, put now thy hand upon the section of my circumcision. And when we go, this can be also translated as what? I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh. So this is correlating with circumcision, the hand under the thigh. You know, most likely where the hollow point was of Jacob's thigh has everything to do with circumcision and making an oath, because the whole point of circumcision was what? A covenant. The covenant is made through circumcision. That's why the following verse, it says, put thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Most High. So he is using the section of his circumcision, which is a sign of a covenant. And he's using that sign to make a oath covenant with Eleazar in this moment right here. And this is the moment he's given the oath to the swear by him to go get Rebekah for Isaac right here. But thy hand under my thigh represents the covenant of circumcision, a covenant or a swear by the Most High. Same difference. All right, very important concept to understand that. That's all about a covenant or an oath or a swear through our Creator. All right. Now let's continue. So let's go to Genesis 28:22. So where did hast thou not promised to give thee 10th of all that is thine? Where was this promise made? Genesis 28. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be Elohim's house, and of all that thou shalt give me, I surely give the 10th unto thee. Well, there you have it. And this was right after the vision of what we call Jacob's ladder. And he fell asleep upon the stones, and it came into one stone, and he said, this pillar will be his house, and I will give a 10th. And remember what we just read. He forgot the glory. Jacob was just living life, not saying he was being unrighteous and sinning. No one's saying that. But he forgot to give thanks and offerings and a 10th of what the Most High was going to give him. For 20 years, Jacob forgot to give thanks to the Most High. Woo! I want y'all to think about that. Right. All throughout the Targums, Liz is saying, even in Genesis 47:20, it says, put my hand on my place of circumcision. So yes, it's all about the place of the circumcision is the whole point of the hollowing out of the thigh. It's the same difference, which means a covenant. And so for 20 years, the Most High gave Jacob everything. We just read last week that the wells would run over full. that everything Jacob touched, that even Most High gave Jacob a vision of what cattle and livestock to keep, and that they will grow in abundance. He gave him instructions. He gave him wives, children, and Jacob forgot to give an offering of thanks that he made an oath to. I will surely give thee a tenth unto thee. Wow. So this is the entire point that has been overlooked, at least to me. I never understood the whole meaning of this. So let's continue with this idea now. Going to Deuteronomy 23. When thou shalt vow a vow unto the Most High, thy Elohim, thou shalt not slack to pay it, for the Most High will surely require it of thee. This is what's going on with the angel. And it would be sin in thee if you don't do what you have vowed to do. So what's going on? The Most High has required it of thee, and that's why the angel of the Most High came to Jacob and was wrestling with him, because he's like, Jacob, what about me? Thou hast not promised to give the tenth of all that is thine. This is what's going on right now. Okay, we're gonna keep rolling. Going down. Another verse on vows, Ecclesiastes 5:4-5. When thou vowest a vow unto Elohim, defer not to pay it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. Better is it that thou should have not vowed than thou should have vowed and not pay. Oh my goodness. Telling you, this is a very big deal, especially the fact that this isn't a normal man. This is Jacob. Jacob is blessed more than probably any other person in his time, because he's chosen, and he forgot. He forgot about the Most High's glory. So now going back to the Targum. So looking at this here, we defined why the angel was there, why he was wrestling with the angel of the Most High. And we defined that why he touched the hollow of his thigh and it went out of joint, because it is symbolizing that he has broken an oath, a covenant, represented by the thigh of the circumcision area. The section of circumcision is the thigh. So his thigh is hollowed out because that's where he is vulnerable. It says it right here. And when he saw he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. Or in the Targums, it says, let's see. Not tithe. Oh, right here. And it says he saw that he had not power to hurt him. And that's the beauty behind it, family. This is even an angel of the Most High. In other words, when you're in the palm of the Most High, Jacob is protected. But where was Jacob not protected? The angel had no power. An angel has no power to hurt Jacob. But what did he have power to do? He had power to touch the hollow of his thigh, because that was Jacob's weakness. He didn't keep a covenant. And so that is a message to me, you, and everyone. Where are we not protected? Where is the chink in our armor? It's where we fall short of righteousness. Whatever our sin is what makes us vulnerable. Jacob is the lot the Most High of the world is thy lot for Jacob. Jacob is protected, but he's still vulnerable when he sins. And we read it right here in Deuteronomy. Elohim will surely require it of thee, and it would be sin in thee if you do not do what you have vowed. Okay. Woo, okay. So now we're not done. Now we're going on the back half of the name given to Jacob. So put all that in perspective. Let's roll back into the Aramaic Targums. All right, we're going to go read 29 through 31. Okay. 29 through 31. And we're going to read. Okay, I got it. Let's do this. And he said, what is thy name? And he answered, Yaakov. And he said, thy name shall be no more called Jacob, but Yasharallah, because thou art magnified with angels of the Most High and with the mighty, and thou hast prevailed with them. Woo! Oh, goosebumps. Wait till y'all get to the meat of this. This is, remember, scripture defines scripture. So what is the meaning of Yasharallah? Right here. But Yasharallah, Israel, because thou art magnified with the angels of the Most High and with the mighty, and thou hast prevailed with them. Continuing. And Jacob asked and said, show me now thy name. And he said, why does thou ask for my name? And he blessed Jacob there. And Jacob called the name of that place Peniel, for he said, I have seen the angels of the Most High face to face. Remember this. This is all correlated. You know it is, Yasharallah. You know it is. And my soul is saved. Remember that. This is the place that he's called by the name for the first time, Israel or Yasharallah. And the place where he was called that is named Peniel because he's seen the Most High face to face, and my soul is saved. All right. And yeah, we'll stop there. That is 29 through 31 in the Targum. So now let's get on the back half of this, the name. Starting off in Isaiah 45. I seen there is a mystery with Jacob and Israel. Why, when the Most High changes someone's name, they usually don't go back and forth, keep using, like, let's say what I'm going to go into in a little bit of the examples I give Abram. They never call Abraham Abram ever again after he is called Abraham. But with Israel, they keep bringing up Jacob in scripture as an example right here in Isaiah. But there is a point to this. Let's read Isaiah 45. For Jacob, my servant's sake, in Yasharallah, mine elect, I have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, thou hast not known me. Psalms 135:4. For the Most High has chosen Jacob unto himself, and Yasharallah for his peculiar treasure. I'm here to tell you, Jacob will be servants in the millennium reign. They are his, and they will be saved. But Yasharallah is his elect. That's the two meanings. And I'm going to prove it. This ripples throughout scripture. Jacob, he has chosen, even when Jacob didn't keep his oath, he still protected him. The angel couldn't hurt him other than the fact that he fell short. Jacob fell short, y'all. Jacob represents falling short. Was Jacob still righteous? Was Jacob a sinner? No, no one said Jacob was doing bad things. Jacob still was a righteous man, but Jacob fell short. When did he call, when I'm going to cover all these names from Abraham to Sarah, he called them and changed their names when they walked into a new meaning. Their life, when he changed their name, is because they were walking different. They were chosen for this moment to fulfill the name that the meaning was given. Jacob was on the hill of Esau. Jacob had to scheme to get his blessings. Yasharallah represents him walking in his blessings full-heartedly and not forgetting the Most High. And that's what Yasharallah means. I have wrestled. What did we do our whole lives, y'all? When do we walk into our purpose? We walk into our purpose when we wrestle with the Most High, when we contend with him, when we beg him, when we are going out of our way to please him. In that moment, we have seen him face to face because we have followed the scripture. We read scripture and we see him for who he is. That's what Yasharallah represents. Jacob represents someone that doesn't fulfill the oath that he has made to the Most High, but he still will save Jacob. Good gracious. That's the purpose of him mentioning in scripture, in I think Isaiah, he says, some will call him, go by the name Jacob, and some will go by the name Israel, because some will be chosen and still will be saved, but some will be the elect and will be elevated as such, and they will walk in the name of Yasharallah, not in the name of Jacob, who forgot the glory of our Creator. This is when you see Jacob, you don't want to be Jacob, because Jacob forgot the Most High. He forgot the glory of Abba. You want to be Yasharallah. Yasharallah is when he started walking in his purpose. He started giving to the Most High. He started acknowledging the Most High differently. All right? Oh man, the Ruach's moving. So we're going to go to Gad the Seer. Let's remember, y'all, that I'm going to go to the Targums. Let's remember. Top here. Let's remember. Let me see. I have seen the angels of the Most High face to face, and my soul is saved. This correlates with Yasharallah. Let's go to Gad the Seer now. I'm reading Gad the Seer, chapter 12, verses 16 and 17. Only he can bring you into the new Jerusalem of the future, where you will see him face to face and be in the presence of the living Elohim that is seen face to face. And you are one people if you grow in belief, and you will be filled with the gates of intelligence. Yasharallah represents fulfilling the covenant and becoming the elect, because the place where he was changed and renewed and blessed to be Yasharallah, where he was saved, he saw the angels of the Most High face to face. So if you are Yasharallah, you will be a part of the wedding covenant, where you will be face to face with your Creator, the Son of Man. If you are Jacob, you will not. You will be a servant. You will not be at the wedding covenant because you fell short of that glory, because you forgot that glory. And in closing, Revelation 2:17, remember, we will be face to face with him. And just like when Jacob was face to face with him, he begged for a blessing and the Most High gave it to him. Well, guess what? Oops. I forgot to put this in. Well, guess what? What will happen when we're face to face with the Son of Man? He that has an ear, Revelation 2:17, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches, his people. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth, saying he that receiveth it. Wow. The same thing, there's nothing new. We will see him face to face. If you are Yasharallah, and you will receive a new name, just like Jacob did when he saw the Most High, the angel of the Most High, at least face to face. This is our purpose. This is what we should yearn for. The wheat, so if you go on with the three harvests, the grape is the sinners and those that will not make it in the kingdom. The wheat is Jacob. Yasharallah is the barley, if you want to go with the harvest parable. That's what Jacob is. You don't want to be Jacob, even though Jacob makes it, but your goal is to be Yasharallah. That's my point, why Jacob has a hollow in his thigh. All right. Now, Deuteronomy 8. And I did a video on this, and I had no idea this was coming. I did one just a couple weeks ago. I'm telling you, the Ruach does this all the time. His glory is unbelievable. And this is why he says this in Deuteronomy 8, when thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Most High thy Elohim for the good land which he has given thee. Beware that thou forget not the Most High in not keeping his commandments. Like I said, I'm not saying that Jacob didn't keep the commandments. He just broke a oath. In his judgments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, lest when thou hast eaten and art full, and hast built goodly houses and dwelt therein, and when thy herds and thy flocks multiplied, this sounds like Jacob though, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast is multiplied, then thy heart be lifted up and thou forget Haya thy Alahai, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt. Wow. This is why we give thanks when we are full. And the story that reflects this is the hollowing of Jacob's thigh. Unbelievable. Let's continue, though. I want to give some examples now of just the different name changes, and that there's a purpose of the name changes. In Genesis 17 with Abraham and Sarah, neither shall thy name anymore be Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make a nation of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. So there was a purpose. Abraham was stepping into a purpose with when his name was changed to Abraham. Same idea with Jacob. Jacob was stepping in a new purpose when he begged for the blessing to be named Yasharallah. And then with Sarah, as for Sarai, thy wife, thou shalt not call her Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name, and I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. And yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nation, kings of people shall be of her. And then with Peter, and he brought him to Yasha, and when Yasha beheld him, he said, thou art Simon, the son of Jonah, thou shalt be called Cephas, or Peter, which is by interpretation a stone. So Simon was stepping into a new walk, a new purpose, and the name mattered because Yahshua gives us the meaning. And I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock, because his name means stone or rock, I will build my church. And we see this in Acts after Messiah is resurrected and gone, and now the apostles are leading. Peter rose up and said unto them, men and brethren, ye know how that a good while ago Elohim made choice among us that the Gentiles by my mouth should hear the word of the gospel and believe. There's purpose. There's purpose in everything that we do in this life. And when we are walking, we need to walk as Yasharalites, not the seed of Jacob. We see what goes around when people are just boasting about being the seed of Jacob, right? Yep, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Still rolling. We still rolling here. Let me see. All right. Yep. I think we're all caught up. We are. All right. Okay, so that's completion of the first chapter. This is the longest chapter because it was jam-packed, but we are at the completion of it. So I hope we all have better understanding when we're reading this chapter of especially from 24 to 32. So much meaning that has been, I feel like, suppressed for a purpose to slack in obedience. That's always the purpose of Hasatan and these demons, right? All right, so let's go to chapter 34. 33 is where we're at, 33. We're going to read verses 1 through 3.
Genesis 33. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah, and unto Rachel, and unto the 2 handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. And he passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother.
All right, we're going to stop right there. And it's kind of in the middle of a story because you already know the book of Jasher is going to fulfill what's going on. So we're going to read the book of Jasher, chapter 32, verses 27 through 40, because the Most High answers Jacob's, or I should say Yasharalah's prayer, but it's not covered in the canon. It's covered in the book of Jasher. So we're going to read 27 to 40 now. And the Most High heard the prayer of Jacob on that day, and the Adon then delivered Jacob from the hands of his brother Esau. And the Most High sent 3 angels of the angels of heaven, and they went before Esau and came to him. And these angels appeared unto Esau and his people as 2,000 men riding upon horses, furnished with all sorts of war instruments. And they appeared in the sight of Esau and all his men to be divided into 4 camps, with 4 chiefs to them. And one camp went on, and they found Esau coming with 400 men towards his brother Jacob. And this camp ran towards Esau and his people and terrified them. And Esau fell off the horse in alarm, and all his men separated from him in that place, for they were greatly afraid. And the whole of the camp shouted after them when they fled from Esau. And all the warlike men answered, saying, surely we are servants of Jacob, who is the servant of Elohim, and who then can stand against us? And Esau said unto them, O then, my Adon, and brother Jacob is your Adon, whom I have not seen for these 20 years. And now that I have this day come to see him, do you treat me in this manner? Look at him playing, he's playing all innocent, right? And the angels answered him, saying, as the Lord liveth, were not Jacob, of whom thou speakest thy brother, we had not let one remaining from thee in thy people, but only on the account of Jacob, we will do nothing to them. And this camp passed from Esau and his men and went away. And Esau and his men had gone from them about a league when the second camp came towards him with all sorts of weapons. And they also did unto Esau and his men as the first camp had done to them. And when they had left it to go on, behold, the third camp came towards him, and they were all terrified. And Esau fell off the horse, and the whole camp cried out and said, surely we are the servants of Jacob. Who is the servant of Elohim, and who can stand against us? And Esau again answered them, saying, oh, then Jacob, my Lord, and your Lord is my brother. And for 20 years I have not seen his countenance, and hearing this day that he was coming, I went this day to meet him, and do you treat me in this manner? And they answered him and said unto him, as the Most High liveth, were not Jacob thy brother, as thou didst say, we had not left a remnant from thee and thy men, but on the account of Jacob, whom thou speakest, being thy brother, we will not meddle with thee or thy men. So obviously they're just trying to make a point. They're making a point and drilling it in Esau to loosen up this anger that is within him. And the third camp also passed from them, and he still continued in his road with his men towards Jacob. When the fourth camp came towards him, and they also did unto him and his men as the others had done. And when Esau beheld the evil which the four angels had done to him and to his men, he became greatly afraid of his brother Jacob, and went to meet him in peace. And Esau concealed his hatred against Jacob because he was afraid of his life on account of his brother Jacob, and because he imagined that the four camps that he had lighted upon were Jacob's servants. So Jacob's prayer was answered, and that's the only reason why we're about to read that he comes to Jacob in peace. That's the only reason why. That's why, it's important to read these details. And I want to make a point as well with these angels, that the Most High did send angels in supplication to Jacob's prayer. And so that's what I wanted to bring up with in the beginning of 32, right at the beginning of this Torah portion, when I said, when Jacob went his way and the angels of Elohim met him. Not saying exactly that these were the angels, but I'm just saying that there were angels sent for the blessing of Jacob during this time frame. And maybe that's where this came from, the angels part. Just throwing it out there. All right, let's continue. We're going to read the rest of chapter 32, 4 through 20 now.
And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, who are those with thee? And he said, the children which God hath graciously given thy servant. Then the handmaidens came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near, and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near, and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, what meanest thou by all this drove which I met? Then he said, these are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother, keep that thou hast unto thyself. And Jacob said, nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, Let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before thee. And he said unto him, My Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure, until I come unto my Lord unto Seir. And Esau said, Let me now leave with thee some of the folk that are with me. And he said, What needeth it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned that day on his way unto Seir. And Jacob journeyed to Succoth, and built him an house, and made booths for his cattle. Therefore the name of the place is called Succoth. And Jacob came to Shalem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram, and pitched his tent before the city. And he bought a parcel of a field, where he had spread his tent, at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar, and called it El Elohe Israel.
All right. Well, remember when he said that, I don't, have the verse on hand, but just speaking on Jacob journeyed to Succoth, and he built him an house and made booths for his cattle. Therefore, the name of the place is called Succoth. So Succoth is a tent, right? I mean, it tells us that, that the Most High so loved Jacob, and Jacob dwelled in tents, right? And so I just have one verse I want to point out in the Targums, the very last verse. It says, and he erected there an altar. So what was the point of this? We just read in chapter 32 that he needs to make an offering to the Most High, right? Well, let's look more detailed. Let me see. I think I don't need this. Okay. 33, the very last verse. Let's read what he's planning on doing now. Let's see. And he raised there an altar, and there he gave the tithes which he has set apart of all that he had before Elohim, and the Elohim of Yasharallah. Oh my goodness. And we're going to read more on this in the next chapter, that we'll read more on this, that he's now giving thanks and going to do more so. So the whole reason of building the altar was to give tithes. And now we see that why immediately after Esau left, now he's on top of things. All right, let's go to chapter 34. We're going to read 1 through 24.
Genesis 34. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor the Hittite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her, and lay with her, and defiled her. And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spake kindly unto the damsel. And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, Get me this damsel to wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, when Jacob held his peace until they were come. And Hamor the father of Shechem went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Israel, in lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. And Hamor communed with them, saying, The soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you, give her him to wife, and make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you, and ye shall dwell with us. The land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein. And Shechem said unto her father and unto her brethren, Let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me. But give me the damsel to wife. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, because he had defiled Dinah their sister, and they said unto them, We cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, but that were a reproach unto us. But in this will we consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised. Then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if ye will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then we will take our daughter, and we will be gone. And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son. And the young man deferred not to do the thing, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the house of his father. And Hamor and Shechem his son came unto the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying, These men are peaceable with us, therefore let them dwell in the land, and trade therein. For the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only herein will the men consent unto us, for to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us be circumcised, as they are circumcised. Shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. And unto Hamor and unto Shechem his son hearken all that went out of the gate of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of his city.
All right, let's go to the book of Jasher, chapter 33. We're going to start off in verse 5. All right. At that time, some of the women of the inhabitants of the land went to the city of Shechem to dance and rejoice with the daughters of the people of the city. And when they went forth, then Rachel and Leah, the wives of Jacob, with their families, also went to behold the rejoicing of the daughters of the city. And Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, also went along with them and saw the daughters of the city, and they remained there before these daughters while all the people of the city were standing by them to behold their rejoicings. And all the great people of the city were there. And Shechem, the son of Hamor, the prince of the land, was also standing there to see them. And Shechem beheld Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, sitting with her mother before the daughters of the city. And the damsel pleased him greatly. And he there asked his friends and his people, saying, Whose daughter is that sitting amongst the women, whom I do not know in this city? And they said unto him, Surely this is the daughter of Jacob, the son of Isaac the Hebrew, who has dwelt in this city for some time. And when it was reported that the daughters of the land were going forth to rejoice, she went with her mother and maidservants to sit amongst them, as thou seest. And Shechem beheld Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and when he looked at her, his soul became fixed upon Dinah. And he sent and had her taken by force. And Dinah came to the house of Shechem, and he seized her forcibly and lay with her and humbled her. And he loved her exceedingly and placed her in his house. And they came and told the things unto Jacob. And when Jacob heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter Dinah, Jacob sent 12 of his servants to fetch Dinah from the house of Shechem. And they went and came to the house of Shechem to take away Dinah from there. And when they came, Shechem went out to them with his men and drove them from his house and would not suffer them to come before Dinah. But Shechem was sitting with Dinah, kissing and embracing her before their eyes. Like, ooh, the disrespect, right? The disrespect. And the servants of Jacob came back and told him, saying, when we came, he and his men drove us away. And thus did Shechem do unto Dinah before our eyes. And Jacob knew moreover that Shechem had defiled his daughter, but he said nothing. And his sons were feeding his cattle in the field, and Jacob remained silent till their return. And before his sons came home, Jacob sent 2 maidens from his servants' daughters to take care of Dinah in the house of Shechem and to remain with her. And Shechem sent 3 of his friends to his father Hamor, the son of Shedemdechem, the son of Pered, saying, give me this damsel for a wife. And Hamor, the son of Shedechem, the Hivite, came to the house of Shechem, his son, and sat before him. And Hamor said unto his son Shechem, is there then no woman amongst the daughters of thy people that thou wilt take an Hebrew woman who is not of thy people? And Shechem said unto him, her only must thou get for me, for she is delightful in my sight. And Hamor did according to the word of his son, for he was greatly beloved by him. And Hamor went forth to Jacob to commune with him concerning this matter. And when he had gone from the house of his son Shechem, before he came to Jacob to speak unto him, behold, the sons of Jacob had come from the field. As soon as they heard the thing that Shechem, the son of Hamor, had done, and the men were very much grieved concerning their sister, and they all came home fired with anger before the time of gathering in their cattle. And they came and sat before their father, and they spoke unto him, kindled with wrath, saying, surely death is due to this man and his household, because the Adon Elohim of the whole earth commanded Noah and his children that man shall never rob nor commit adultery. Now, behold, Shechem has both ravished and committed fornication with our sister, and not one of all the people of the city spoke a word to him. See, this is a very good point right here, though. Remember, all the sons of all the earth come from Noah. So every single man on earth technically has been given commandments through Noah. All people on the earth comes from Noah's seed. And he's getting held accountable right here based off of Noah's instructions to his 3 sons. Surely thou knowest and understandest that the judgment of death is due to Shechem and to his father and to the whole city on the account of the thing which he has done. So this is the point of saying all of this in the book of Jasher, is that it gives purpose and reason for the slaughtering that we're going to read about in the Masoretic, the canon, right? It gives purpose on why they were given righteous judgment and decision to do this to these people. And obviously they're messing with the chosen people as well. Doesn't help. All right, 22. Let me see. Where are we reading to? Where am I at? 33 to 46. Okay. Surely thou knowest and understand that the judgment is due to Shechem and to his father and to the whole city on account of the thing that he has done. And while if they were speaking before their father in this manner, behold, Hamor, this father of Shechem, came to speak to Jacob the words of his son concerning Dinah. And he sat before Jacob and before his sons. And Hamor spoke unto them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you give her unto him for a wife, and intermarry with us. Give us your daughters, and we will give you our daughters, and you shall dwell with us in our land, and we will be as one people in the land. For our land is very extensive, so dwell ye and trade therein, and get possessions in it, and do therein as you desire, and no one shall prevent you by saying a word to you. And Hamor ceased speaking unto Jacob and his sons, and behold, Shechem his son had come after him, and he sat before them. And Shechem spoke before Jacob and his sons, saying, may I find favor in your sight, that you will give me your daughter, and whatever you say unto me, that I will do for her. For me, ask me for abundance of dowry and gift, and I will give it thee. Give it. And whatever you shall say unto me, that I will do. And whoever he be that will rebel against your orders, he shall die. Only give me the damsel for a wife. And Simeon and Levi answered Hamor and Shechem his son deceitfully, saying, all you have spoken unto us, we will do for you. Let me see. I'll just read it. And behold, our sister is in your house, but keep away from her until we send to our father Isaac concerning this matter, for we can do nothing without his consent. For he knoweth the ways of our father Abraham, and whatever he saith unto us, we will tell you, and we will conceal nothing from you. And Simeon and Levi spoke this unto Shechem and his father in order to find a pretext and to seek counsel what was to be done to Shechem and to his city in this matter. And when Shechem and his father heard the words of Simeon and Levi, it seemed good in their sight. And Shechem and his father came forth to go home. And when they had gone, the sons of Jacob said unto their father, saying, behold, we know that death is due to these wicked ones into their city, because they transgress that which Elohim has commanded unto Noah and his children and his seed after them. And also because Shechem did this thing to our sister Dinah in defiling her, for such vileness shall never be done amongst us. Now therefore know and see what you will do, and seek counsel and pretext what is to be done to them, in order to kill all the inhabitants of this city. And Simeon said to them, here is a proper advice for you. Tell them to circumcise every male amongst them as we are circumcised. And if they do not wish to do this, we shall take our daughter from them and go away. And if they consent to this and we do it, then when they are sunk down with pain, we will attack with them with our sword as upon one who is quiet and peaceable, and we will slay every male person amongst them. And Simeon advice pleased them, and Simeon and Levi resolved to do unto them as it was proposed. And on the next morning, Shechem and Hamor his father came again unto Jacob and his sons to speak concerning Dinah, and to hear what answer the sons of Jacob would give their words. And the sons of Jacob spoke deceitfully to them, saying, we told our father Isaac all your words, and your words pleased him. But he spoke unto us, saying, thus did Abraham his father command him, for Elohim of the world, of the whole earth, that any man who is not of his descendants that should wish to take one of his daughters shall cause every male belonging to him to be circumcised as we are circumcised, then we may give him our daughter for a wife. And the rest of this is pretty much covered. I'm not going to read. So they went and told the city to go, let's get circumcised. So pretty much, all right. So that's the rest of that, which we already read. And let me see. So, and then 51 and 52, last parts right here. And on this day, Shechem and Hamor, his father, rose up early in the morning, and they assembled all the men of their city in the middle of the city, and they called for all the sons of Jacob, who circumcised every male belonging to them on that day and the next. And they circumcised Shechem and Hamor, his father, and the 5 brothers of Shechem. And then everyone rose up and went home. For this thing was from, so right here, this is righteous judgment. For this thing was from the Most High against the city of Shechem. And from the Most High was Simeon's counsel in this manner, in order that Hiah might deliver the city of Shechem into the hands of Jacob's 2 sons, which is Simeon and Levi. All right. Let's finish the chapter 32 now. 34, excuse me. We're on 34. Yes, Hiah was with them. This was, so in other words, this judgment by Simeon and Levi was a righteous judgment that was ordained by the Most High. And like you said, how would 2 people be able to slaughter a whole town of men? Hiah had to be with them. All right, let's finish this chapter.
And it came to pass on the 3rd day, when they were sore, that 2 of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep and their oxen, and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, Ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And I, being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me, and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, Should he deal with our sister as with an harlot?
It's interesting here with Jacob and his sons, because Jacob's just like, I mean, he's like, I feel you, but good gracious. I mean, what is there to happen? You're talking about women belong to the Most High. That's in Gad the seer. But yes, women, do what you're supposed to do for the Most High, and you are his possession. All right, we're going to go into the Targums, verse 31. And they said, should he deal with our sister as a harlot? Let's go to 34, the last verse. Let me see, 34 here. All right, so yeah, I think this whole, okay, here it is. 34, 31 in the Aramaic Targums. Let's read. And Simeon and Levi answered, it would not have been fit to be said in the congregations of Yasharallah that the uncircumcised polluted the virgin, and the worshipers of idols defaced the daughter of Jacob. But it is fit that it should be said, the uncircumcised were slain on the account of the virgin, and the worshipers of idols on the account of the daughter of Jacob. Shechem bar Hamor will not now deride us with his words, for as a whorish woman and an outcast who has no avenger would he have made our sister if we had not done this thing. Wow. I like what they say better than what we read. I mean, totally makes sense. He's like, Dad, righteously is to say that an uncircumcised polluted a virgin, and these uncircumcised men are worshipers of idols that will lead our sister and deride her into a pretty much a cult nation that worships pagan gods. But it is right for us to place judgment upon the uncircumcised that has raped and stolen our virgin sister. Amen. So that gives more credence to the whole purpose of what happened. You always see people that that perverts the Bible, and they'll point out stories like this, like, oh yeah, the Most High is like, no, there's a righteous order, and the Most High has his chosen people. Don't mess with his chosen people. And their brothers or her brothers are doing what they're supposed to do. Jacob is just worried about everything. He's like, man, what am I supposed to do though? Good gracious. But that's the point. You walk in light, you do what is righteous, and you allow the Most High to protect you and to guide you the rest of the way. All right, we're going to go to Jasher 34 now. Jasher 34, we're going to read 1 through 37. And the number of all the males that were circumcised were 645 men, 246 children. But Chiddekem, son of Pered, the father of Hamor, and his 6 brothers would not listen unto Shechem and his father Hamor, and they would not be circumcised, for the proposal of the sons of Jacob was loathsome in their sight, and their anger was greatly roused at this, that the people of the city had not hearkened to them. And in the evening of the 2nd day, they found 8 small children who had not been circumcised, for their mothers had concealed them from Shechem and his father Hamor, and from the men of the city. And Shechem and his father Hamor sent to have them brought before them to be circumcised, when Chiddekem and his 6 brothers sprang at them with their swords and sought to slay them. And they sought to slay also Shechem and his father Hamor, and they sought to slay Dinah with them on the account of this matter. And they said unto them, what is this thing that you have done? Are there no women amongst the daughters of our brethren, the Canaanites, that you wish to take unto yourselves, daughters of the Hebrews, whom ye knew not before, and will do this act which your fathers never commanded you? Do you imagine that you will succeed through this act which you have done? And what will you answer in this affair to your brother and the Canaanites, who will come tomorrow and ask you concerning this thing? And if your act shall not appear just and good in their sight, what will you do for your lives, and me for our lives? in your not having hearkened to our voices. And if the inhabitants of the land and all your brethren, the children of Ham, shall hear of your act, saying, on account of a Hebrew woman did Shechem and Hamor, his brother, and all the inhabitants of their city do that with which they had been unacquainted, in which their ancestors never commanded them, where then will you fly, or where conceal your shame all your days before your brethren, the inhabitants of the land of Canaan? And you know what, y'all? They making a valid point, right? These guys like, man, y'all tripping. Y'all changing the entire culture of our people for one woman because you got a crush, right? Now, therefore, we cannot bear up against this thing which you have done. Neither can we have burden with this yoke upon us, which our ancestors did not command us. Behold, tomorrow we will go and assemble all our brethren, the Canaanites' brethren, who dwell in the land, and we will all come and smite you, and all those who trust in you, that there shall not be a remnant left from you or them. And when Hamor and his son Shechem and all the people of the city heard the words of Shedechem and his brothers, they were terribly afraid of their lives at their words, and they repented of what they had done. And Shechem and his father Hamor answered their father Shedechem and his brethren, and they said unto them, all the words which you spoke unto us are true. Now, listen to this now. This is the main reason why I'm reading this long passage in this chapter. Now do not say, nor imagine in your hearts that on account of the love of the Hebrews, we did this thing that our ancestors did not command us, but because we saw that it was not their intention and desire to accede to our wishes concerning their daughter as to our taking her, except on this condition. So we hearkened to their voices and did this act which you saw, in order to obtain our desire from them. And when we shall have obtained our request from them, we will then return to them and do unto them that which you say unto us. Listen, we beseech you then to wait and tarry until our flesh shall be healed, and we again become strong, and will then go together against them and do unto them that which is in your hearts and in ours. And Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, heard all these words which Shedechem and his brothers had spoken, and what Hamor and his son Shechem and the people of their city had answered them. So these are heathens that was planning on killing the Hebrews now. So this is definitely righteous judgment when you get the full story. And she hastened, because at this point, especially at this point, the Hebrews didn't do nothing. The Hebrews didn't do nothing to these Canaanites, right? Nothing. They just told them to go get circumcised, and they're planning on killing all of them because now they're feeling guilty and stupid that they did something for a woman. All of this because of lust. All of it starts with this lust, right? Crazy. And she hastened and sent one of her maidens that her father had sent to take care of her in the house of Shechem to Jacob her father and to her brother, saying, thus did Shedechem and his brothers advice concerning you, and thus did Hamor and Shechem and the people of the city answer them. And when Jacob heard these words, he was filled with wrath, and he was indignant at them, and his anger was kindled against them. And Simeon and Levi swore and said, as the Most High liveth, the Elohim of the whole earth, by this time tomorrow there shall not be a remnant left in the whole city. So check it out. The time frame, Simeon and Levi already wanted to kill him, But now this is, they all, everything that these people have done has been against the commandments of their father Noah, right? Or Ham. And they already was getting penalized righteously, judged righteously. Now, could you imagine Simeon and Levi like, oh, so they want to kill us now? Oh my goodness, this is a mess. It's like they really got what was coming to them, in other words. And 20 young men had concealed themselves who were not circumcised, and these young men fought against Simeon and Levi. And Simeon and Levi killed 18 of them, and 2 fled from them and escaped to some lime pits that were in the city. And Simeon and Levi sought for them, but could not find them. And Simeon and Levi continued to go about in the city, and they killed all the people of the city at the edge of the sword, and they left none remaining. And there was a great consternation in the midst of the city, and the cry of the people of the city ascended to heaven, and all the women and children cried aloud. And Simeon and Levi slew all the city. They left not a male remaining in the whole city. And they slew Hamor and Shechem, his son, at the edge of the sword, and they brought away Dinah from the house of Shechem, and they went from there. And the sons of Jacob went and returned and came upon the slain and spoiled all their property, which was in the city and in the field. So we're going to read more on this, but let's remember, they spoiled all the property of Shechem. Take note, highlight that in your mind. It's going to come relevant before the end of this Torah portion. And while if they were taking the spoil, that's what I'm talking about, 300 men stood up and threw dust at them and struck them with stones. When Simeon turned to them, and he slew them all with the edge of the sword, and Simeon turned before Levi, and they came into the city. Like, this is crazy. 2 men taking all these men, right? The Most High has to be with them. And they took away their sheep and their oxen and their cattle, and also the remainder of the women and little ones. And they led all these away, and they opened the gate and went out and came unto their father Jacob with vigor. Okay, we're going till 37. And when Jacob saw all that they had done into the city and saw the spoil that they took from them, Jacob was very angry at them. And Jacob said unto them, what is this that you have done to me? Behold, I obtained rest amongst the Canaanite inhabitants of the land, and none of them meddled with me. And now you have done to make me obnoxious to the inhabitants of the land amongst the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And I am but of a small number, and they will all assemble against me and slay me when they hear of your work with their brethren, and I and my household will be destroyed. And Simeon and Levi and all their brothers with them answered their father Jacob and said unto him, behold, we live in the land, and shall Shechem do this to our sister? Why art thou silent at all that Shechem has done? And shall he deal with our sister as with a harlot in the streets? And the number of the women, not important to answer. If you want to read, continue to read. We'll stop at 34. So that just gives the numbers and all the women and whatnot. So if you want to read all those extra details, go for it. Read the book of Jasher. But we're going to stop right there at 34. And now we're going to go into the book of Jubilees, chapter 30, that kind of summarizes this whole event. Jubilees 30. All right, we're going to read 5 and 6. And thus let it not again be done from henceforth that the daughter of Yasharallah be defiled. All right, let's protect the women, right? For judgment is ordained in heaven against them, that they should destroy with the sword all the men of the Shechemites, because they had wrought shame in Yasharallah. And the Most High delivered them into the hands of the sons of Jacob, that they might exterminate them with the sword and execute judgment upon them, and that it might not thus again be done in Yasharallah, that a virgin of Yasharallah shall be defiled. Now skimming to 13 through 14. And it is a reproach to Yasharallah, to those who live, and to those that take the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is unclean and abominable to Yasharallah. So if you are born again Israelite, Yasharalite, and you take a woman that is doing idolatry, witchcraft, that is worldly. So let's say me, for example, and I go and grab a woman that I know that don't care to keep the commandments, etc., etc. That is evil in the sight of the Most High. It's not what she is in a sense of being a Canaanite, a Shemite, a Japhethite. It's, is she righteous? And we see this clearly in the book of Ruth. Ruth is clearly said to be a Moabite, which is a Gentile, obviously, not an Israelite. And if you are born again and you're doing the works of the kingdom, that's where the standard's at. Did I read 14? Israel will not be free from this uncleanliness if it has a wife of the daughters of the Gentiles, or has given any of its daughters to a man who is of any of the Gentiles. So same way, obviously we're in different time frame now, but parents, I mean, we don't have control like this nowadays, but raise your children to see the evil and to choose a man or a woman that keeps the covenant of the Most High is the point. And now going to verses 24 through 26 in the same chapter. And they brought Dinah, their sister, out of the house of Shechem, and they took captive everything that was in Shechem, their sheep, their oxen, their asses, and all their wealth. Like I said, note all of that. And all their flocks, and brought them all to Jacob, their father. And he reproached them because they had put the city to the sword, for he feared those who dwelt in the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And the dread of the Most High was upon all the cities which are around about Shechem, and they did not rise to pursue after the sons of Jacob, for their terror had fallen upon them. And we're going to read this in a little bit more detail in the book of Jasher, right in the beginning of the next chapter. So we're going to go to chapter 35 now. Ask, can't you change them to be righteous though? It ain't your job to change them though. If you have a choice and you are this is not saying that you married before you came to the truth, but if you are in the truth right now and you marry someone that's a heathen, that's not that's not a righteous thing to do. Change them before you marry them if you really want them. Build a relationship, but you marrying them in hopes of changing them is backwards. That's not how it works. And I don't know, and not saying you're meaning this, but I don't know what we think that we're changing anybody. We don't have the power to change anybody, not one person. So the fact that you marry someone saying I can change them, is not a good mindset to have, because we don't have the power to do any of that at all. All right. Chapter 35. We're going to read one verse. And I'm going to point some things out here.
Genesis 35. And God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God, that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother.
Okay. I just want to put in context this chapter before we even begin on it. This chapter, a couple of Torah portions back, we read that Abraham had died and Ishmael had died. And then we kept reading, but when we read in Jasher, the stories that was put after Abraham had died, he was still a part of it. This is kind of how this chapter is. In other words, it's not in actual order. This chapter is in a time frame, but it's not in order. And when we read the book of Jasher and Jubilees, we see that it's not in order. And an example given, we're going to read that this commandment to go to Bethel and give an altar and a sacrifice doesn't happen until after Isaac passes. But we see that at the end of this chapter that Isaac passes. So that's kind of, like I said, we've done this before. This is more of a summary. And when we read the full chapter, this chapter is just summarizing a bunch of events that is in a time frame, but they're not in order. So we'll see when we read. I just want to clarify that. All right, so we're going to go to Jasher 34. Let me see, Jasher 34 and 38. So we are, let me see. So he says, the Most High says unto Jacob, arise, go to Bethel, right? So now we're saying right before this happens, this is what's going on in the book of Jasher. There's a lot of, they do come for the sons of Jacob, but they don't do anything, as we just read in the last verse of Jubilees 30, verse 26. But this is kind of, I'm just giving a summary of what's happened since they did kill all of those men, giving a summary of what's happened between this time frame. So I'm going to read, let me specify 38 and 41. And when Simeon and Levi had gone forth from the city, the two young men the two young men that were left, that escaped, who had concealed themselves in the city and did not die amongst the people of the city, rose up, and these young men went into the city and walked about in it, and found the city desolate, without man and only women weeping. And these young men cried out and said, behold, this is the evil which the sons of Jacob the Hebrew did to this city in their having this day destroy one of the Canaanitish cities, and were not afraid of their lives of all the land of Canaan. And these men left the city and went to the city of Tapnach, and they came there and told the inhabitants of Tapnach all that had befallen them, and all that the sons of Jacob had done to the city of Shechem. And the information reached Jashub, the king of Tapnach, and he sent men to the city of Shechem to see those young men. For the king did not believe them in this account, saying, how could two men lay waste such a large town as Shechem? Exactly. How? How could they have, right? They couldn't have without the Most High. All right, so that's just pointing out that the Canaanites around started hearing about it. So let's jump to 35, verse 1 through 3. And then this is what happens. And all the kings of the Amorites came and took their stand in the field to consult with their counselors that was to be done with the sons of Jacob. For they were still afraid of them, saying, behold, 2 of them slew the whole of the city of Shechem. And the Most High heard the prayers of Isaac and Jacob, and he filled the hearts of all these kings advisors with great fear and terror, that they unanimously exclaimed, are you silly this day? Or is there no understanding in you that you will fight with the Hebrews? And why will you take a delight in your own destruction this day? And then we're going to go down to 24 and 25. After these thoughts enter them, the summary of what we just read at the end of 30:26, that they did not rise to pursue after the sons of Jacob, for the terror had befallen them. So we're seeing that terror befallen them. And this is what happens. For this proceeded from the Most High to them, for he heard the prayers of his servants Isaac and Jacob, for they trusted in him. And all these kings returned with their camps on that day, each to his own city, and they did not at that time. Let's remember that, because there is war that happens in the book of Jasher that we won't get to in these Torah portions if you read them on your own. But it's at that time to fight with the sons of Jacob, because there is war from the sons of Jacob to the Canaanites later on. And the sons of Jacob kept their station that day till evening opposite Mount Sinai, and seeing that these kings did not come to fight against them, the sons of Jacob returned home. And just to put a time stamp on it, like I was saying, at that time, the Most High appeared to Jacob saying, arise, go to Bethel and remain there and make there an altar to the Most High. See, so all of this happened, and then they went to Bethel, just putting that in reference to why we stopped reading right here. Okay. So now we're going to read, the remainder of the chapter, 2 through 29. And like I said, this is more of a summary chapter. And then we're going to put it in context after we read it.
Then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments, and let us arise, and go up to Bethel. And I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar, and called the place El Bethel, because there God appeared unto him, when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel, under an oak. And the name of it was called Elon Barkoth. And God appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Padan Aram, and blessed him. And God said unto him, thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. And God went up from him in the place where he talked with him. And Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone. And he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon. And Jacob called the name of the place where God spake with him, Bethel. And they journeyed from Bethel. And there was but a little way to come to Ephrath. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Oni, but his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died, and was buried in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave, that is, the pillar of Rachel's grave, unto this day. And Israel journeyed, and spread his tent beyond the tower of Adar. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12, the sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Padan Aram. And Jacob came unto Isaac his father unto Mamre, unto the city of Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And the days of Isaac were 180 years. And Isaac gave up the ghost, and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him.
All right. So we're going to see that this, and Jacob came to Isaac. This happens before he actually even gets to Bethel. We're going to read this in context here. And that's what I'm saying. This chapter, this is not in order, timeline order. It's a big, there's a lot of stuff that happens in this little chapter, and you see how it's just like summarized, just like one thing after another. All right. Let's go to the Targum. We're going to read verse 2 and then just 22 in chapter 35. Let's see what I got here. Verse 2. Chapter 35. So when we read putting this in a context, it says, and Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. Does that not confuse you? It confused me, because I'm like, now all of a sudden, y'all, like, he has to tell his household to get rid of strange gods? So y'all had strange gods. It just didn't make any sense to me. When did the children of Jacob just have strange gods in their house, where to the point that their father has to tell them to get rid of it? Well, remember, I was telling you to remember that they took all the possessions from Shechem. This is the context that we need, man, because when we read, that's what he was talking about. Where we at? Verse 2. And Jacob said to the men of his household, to all that who were with him, put away the idols of the peoples which are among you, which you took from the temple of Shechem. Oh, that makes so much sense, because they did just grab all their possessions. Now he's like, yo, get rid of that stuff though. What y'all doing? And purify you from the uncleanness of the slain whom you have, and change your raiment. Okay, so that little detail goes a long way, right? Makes a lot of sense to me now. Right. Okay, and now we're going to go to verse 22, same chapter. And we're going to give verse 22. This is the verse of Bilhah and Reuben. So we're going to go into the details of Reuben and Bilhah with more detail. Okay, let me see here. All right, here we go. Okay, this is it. This is verse 22, chapter 35 of the Targums. And it was while Israel dwelt in this land that Reuben went and confounded the bed of Bilhah, the concubine of his father, which had been ordained along with the bed of Leah, his mother. And this reputed with regard to him as if he had lain with her, and Israel heard it, and it afflicted him. And he said, at last, that one should have come forth from me so profane, even as Ishmael came forth from Abraham and Esau from my father. The spirit of holiness answered and thus spoke to him, fear not, for all are righteous and none of them is profane. So that's just that's just interesting little thing in there, but we're going to read it from also a different perspective in the book of Jubilees. Actually said that says Reuben had feelings for Bilhah. So let's go to Jasher now. Jasher 36. Jasher 36 verses 13 through 15. And it was after the death of Rachel that Jacob pitched his tent in the tent of her handmaid Bilhah. So this makes the most sense to me in the context. And when Reuben was jealous for his mother Leah on account of this, and he was filled with anger, and he rose up in his anger and went and entered the tent of Bilhah, and he thence removed his father's bed. At that time, the portion of the birthright, together with the kingly and priestly offices, was removed from the son of Reuben, for he had profaned his father's bed. And the birthright was given unto Joseph, the kingly office to Judah, and the priesthood unto Levi, because Reuben had defiled his father's bed. Because he had a lot of emotions. Like I said, Jubilee said he did, I think he even said love Bilhah, but it was mixed with anger that Bilhah was kind of put in front of Leah in this context. But take what you will from it. Now let's go to Jubilees 31. All right, we're gonna read all of this because it's too good. Too good. And on the new moon of the month, Jacob spoke to all the people. We're going to see what month this is, by the way. It's during feast days. So we'll see. Spoke to all the people of his house, saying, purify yourselves and change your garments. Let us arise and go up to Bethel, where I vowed a vow. I told y'all, this whole Torah portion is about Jacob keeping his vow. The entire Torah portion, we're still talking about it. He still hasn't fulfilled the full vow of all that he's supposed to do. And we're still talking about it. to him on the day when I fled from the face of Esau, my brother, because he has been with me and brought me into this land in peace, and put ye away the strange gods that are among you. And they gave up the strange gods and that which was in their ears and which was on their necks, and the idols which Rachel stole from Laban, her father, she gave wholly to Jacob. And he brought and break them to pieces and destroyed them and hid them under an oak, which is in the land of Shechem. And he went on the new moon, here we go, of the 7th month to Bethel. So Yom Teruah, Feast of Trumpets, is when he built an altar at that place where he had slept, and he set up a pillar there, and he sent word to his father Isaac to come to him to his sacrifice and to his mother Rebekah. And Isaac said, let my son come and let me see him before I die. And Jacob went, so this is what I was saying. Jacob, it says that came to his father. No, this actually happens before he goes to Bethel. Or at the same time, he goes to Bethel to set it up. And at the same time, he went to see his father to tell him about what's going on right now. So all of this is happening up here. Jubilees. And Jacob went to his father Isaac and to his mother Rebekah to the house of his father Abraham. And he took 2 of his sons with him, Levi and Judah. And he came to his father's Isaac and to his mother Rebekah. And Rebekah came forth from the tower to the front of it to kiss Jacob and embrace him. For her spirit had revived when she heard, behold, Jacob, thy son has come. And she kissed him. And she saw his 2 sons. And she recognized them and said unto them, are these thy sons, my son? And she embraced them and kissed them and blessed them, saying, in you shall the seed of Abraham become illustrious. I give up. And ye shall prove a blessing on the earth. And Jacob went in to Isaac his father to the chamber where he lay, and his 2 sons were with him. And he took the head of his father, and stooping down, he kissed him. And Isaac clung to the neck of Jacob his son and wept upon his neck. And the darkness left the eyes of Isaac, and he saw the 2 sons of Jacob, Levi and Judah. And he said, these are thy sons, my son, for they are like thee. And he said unto him that they were truly his sons, and thou hast truly seen that they are truly my sons. And they came near to him, and he turned and kissed them and embraced them both together. And the spirit of prophecy came down into his mouth. And he took Levi by his right hand and Judah by his left. And he turned to Levi first and began to bless him first. And he said unto him, may Elohim of all, the very Adon of all the ages, bless thee and thy children throughout all the ages. And may the Most High give to thee and to thy seed greatness and great glory, and cause thee and thy seed from among all flesh to approach him to serve in his sanctuary as the angels of the presence and as the holy ones, even as they shall the seed of thy sons be for glory and greatness and holiness. And may he make them great unto all the ages. And they shall be judges and princes and chiefs of all the seed of the sons of Jacob. They shall speak the words of the Adon in righteousness, and they shall judge all his judgments in righteousness. And they shall declare my ways to Jacob and my paths to Yasharallah. Man, the blessing of the Adon shall be given into their mouths, and to bless all the seed of the beloved. And thy mother has called thy name Levi, and justly has she called thy name. Thou shalt be joined to the Adon, and be a companion of all the sons of Jacob, and let his table be thine, and do thou and thy sons eat thereof. And may thy table be full in all generations, and thy food fail not unto all the ages. And let all who hate thee fall down before thee, and let all thy adversaries be rooted out and perish. And blessed be he that blesses thee, and cursed be every nation that curses thee. And to Judah he said, may the dawn give thee strength and power, and to tread down all that hate thee. A prince shalt thou be, thou and one of thy sons over the sons of Jacob. May thy name and the name of thy sons go forth and traverse every land and region. Then shall the Gentiles fear before thy face, and all the nations shall quake, and all the people shall quake. And these shall be the help of Jacob, and in thee be found the salvation of Yasharallah. Amen. Who comes from the line of Judah? Messiah, which is Yasha, which means to save. And when thou sittest on the throne of honor of thy righteousness, there shall be great peace for all the seed of the sons of the beloved. Blessed be he that blesses thee, and all that hateth thee and afflict thee and curse thee shall be rooted out and destroyed from the earth and be accursed. And turning, he kissed him again and embraced him and rejoiced greatly, for he had seen the sons of Jacob, his son, in very truth. And he went forth from between his feet and fell down and bowed down to him and blessed them and rested there with Isaac his father that night. And they eat and drank with joy. And he made the two sons of Jacob sleep, the one on the right, on his right hand, and the other on his left. And he was counted to him for righteousness. And Jacob told his father everything during the night, how the Most High had shown him great mercy, and how he had prospered in him all the ways and protected him from all evil. And Isaac blessed the Elohim of his father Abraham, who had not withdrawn his mercy and his righteousness from the sons of his servant Isaac. And in the morning, Jacob told his father Isaac the vow which he had vowed to the Most High, and the vision which he had seen. This is talking about the vow he made in chapter 28 about Jacob's ladder, the vow he made in the vision of Jacob's ladder, that he had built an altar and that everything was ready for the sacrifice to be made before the Adon as he had vowed. I'm telling you, you see how they keep talking about it. And that he had come to set him on an ass. And Isaac said unto Jacob, listen, Yasharallah, his son, I am not able to go forth with thee, for I am old and not able to bear the way. Go, my son, in peace, for I am 165 years this day. I am no longer able to journey. Set thy mother on an ass and let her go with thee. And I know, my son, that thou hast come on my account, and may this day be blessed on which thou hast seen me alive, and I also have seen thee, my son. This is the part I'm talking about. Mayest thou prosper and fulfill the vow which thou hast vowed, and put not off thy vow, for thou shalt be called to account as touching the vow. Now therefore make haste to perform it, and may he be pleased who has made all things, to whom thou hast vowed the vow. And he said to Rebekah, go with Jacob thy son. And Rebekah went with Jacob her son, and Deborah with her, and they came to Bethel. And Jacob remembered the prayer with which his father had blessed him. and his two sons, Levi and Judah, and he rejoiced and blessed the Elohim of his fathers, Isaac and Jacob. And he said, now I know that I have eternal hope, and my sons also, before Elohim of all. And thus it is ordained concerning the two that they record it as an eternal testimony unto them on the heavenly tablets, how Isaac blessed them. Amen. We're going to go to the next chapter just for context after this blessing. So we, real quick. So we see now that he went and saw Isaac beforehand to when he went to Bethel. And this is why it makes sense where it says, but Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak. Because how the heck did Deborah and Rebekah get over there, right? Why were they in Bethel? Well, we see it now, right? Told you, Rebekah, go with Jacob, thy son, and Deborah with her. Everything comes together with that context, right? Very cool. And we see the blessing of Isaac on Levi and Judah, and then Isaac giving the message to his son about keeping a vow, and that is very important, and to do it in haste, as we already covered. So now we're going to go to 32 for just a couple of verses. And he abode that night at Bethel, and Levi dreamed that they had ordained and made him the priest of the Most High Elohim, him and his sons forever. And he awoke from his sleep and blessed the Most High. And Jacob rose early in the morning on the 14th of this month. So this is remember, we're in the 7th month. This is the same time frame right on top of the feast days, right, of tabernacles. And he gave tithing of all that came with him, both men and cattle, both of gold and every vessel and garment. Yea, he gave tithes of all. So the completion of close to the completion of this Torah portion is Jacob finally making things right on the vow that he has vowed at the beginning of this Torah portion that we established in 32, which goes all the way back to 28. And now I just want to touch on, well, two was the, point out that he finally made those tithes and was counted worthy of doing so. But I want to point out real quick, the dream Levi has is covered in, oh no, I forgot to pull it up. One second. Forgot to pull it up real quick. This is covered in the 12 patriarchs. Let me see. Let me look for it. Shouldn't take long, hopefully. Let's see here. In the Testament of Levi. All right, yep, real quick. There we go. Let's cover this. All right. And I'm just going to read verses 5 through 7 in the Testament of Levi to show you that everything lines up, the time frame and everything. I came with my father to Shechem, and so that's the time frame. Just want to show Testament of Levi, chapter 1. And I was young, about 20 years of age, when with Simeon, I wrought vengeance on Hamar for our sister Dinah. Look at the time frame right in it. And when I was feeding the flocks in Abel Mal, the spirit of understanding of the Adon came upon me, and I saw all men corrupting their ways, and that unrighteousness had built for itself walls, and lawlessness sat upon towers. And I was grieving for the race of the sons of men, and I prayed to the dawn that I might be saved. And you read all of it, is just, this is the initiation of him becoming the priest of the Most High, because he has a full vision. He's brought to the high heavens. And if you want, read the rest yourself. And this is on Sacred Scripture, sacred-text.com. If you want to read the rest of a little bit of what happened when Levi dreamed that he was ordained, is found in the Testament of Levi. All right, in the last chapter, I am going to let chapter 36 in its entirety read, and then I'm going to cover a few points, and we are about done. Oh, one more thing. I wanted to cover, just real quick, just cover the order. You know, we have, because that's what also chapter 35 covered, was all his sons were born because Rachel passes and the last son, Benjamin, was born. So Leah has Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. And her servant Zilpah had Gad and Asher. Rachel had Joseph and Benjamin, and her servant Bilath had Dan and Naphtali. Just reviewing. All right, let's read chapter 36. Like I said, we're going to read the entire chapter all together now.
Genesis 36. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nabajeth. And Adah bare to Esau Eliphaz, and Bashemath bare Ruel. And Aholibamah bare Jeush, and Jalam, and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all the persons of his house and his cattle and all his beasts and all his substance, which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For their riches were more than that they might dwell together. And the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau; Ruel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Reuel, Nahath, and Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These were the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zibeon, Esau's wife. And she bare to Esau Jeush, and Jalam, and Korah. These were dukes of the sons of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau: Duke Teman, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, Duke Kenaz, Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek. These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Adah. And these are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son: Duke Nahath, Duke Zerah, Duke Shammah, Duke Mizah. These are the dukes that came of Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Aholibamah, Esau's wife: Duke Jeush, Duke Jalam, Duke Korah. These were the dukes that came of Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are their dukes. These are the sons of Seir the Horite, who inhabited the land, Lotan and Shobal and Zibeon and Anah, and Dishon and Ezer and Dishan. These are the dukes of the Horites, the children of Seir in the land of Edom. And the children of Lotan were Horai and Hemam, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shobal were these, Alvan and Manahath, and Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. And these are the children of Zibeon, both Ajah and Anah. This was that Anah that found the mules in the wilderness, as he fed the asses of Zibeon his father. And the children of Anah were these, Dishon and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah. And these are the children of Dishon, Hemdan, and Eshban, and Ithran, and Cheran. The children of Ezer are these, Bilhan, and Zavan, and Akan. The children of Dishan are these, Uz and Aran. These are the dukes that came of the Horites, Duke Lotan, Duke Shobal, Duke Zibeon, Duke Anah, Duke Dishon, Duke Ezer, Duke Dishan. These are the dukes that came of Horai among their dukes in the land of Seir. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom, before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. And Bela the son of Beor reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And Bela died, and Jobab the son of Zerah of Bozrah reigned in his stead. And Jobab died, and Husham of the land of Temanai reigned in his stead. And Husham died, and Hadad the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Avith. And Hadad died, and Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his stead. And Samlah died, and Saul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead. And Saul died, and Baal-Hanan the son of Achbor reigned in his stead. And Baal-Hanan the son of Achbor died, and Hadar reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Pau, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, and the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau, according to their families after their places by their names. Duke Timnah, Duke Alva, Duke Jetheth, Duke Aholibamah, Duke Elah, Duke Pinon, Duke Kenaz, Duke Taman, Duke Mibsar, Duke Magdiel, Duke Aram. These be the dukes of Edom, according to their habitations in the land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomites.
You know, that's another reason why I love the audio for a base. So I ain't got to read all those names. Yeah, I ain't got to hear me butcher them, right? But while we're sitting here in the last part of the chapter 40 to 43, we have 11 dukes here. And I just did a study on my YouTube. That's Apollo. Wow. Well, Apollo, the false light Messiah. And that they name 11 dukes. So if the title Duke we see comes from Edom. So when we see dukes as titles, yeah, that is origin of that is Edom. But we have 11 dukes here. And this is, I bring that up because the Apollo study, because this is from the Apollo study that the 11-pointed star, which could look different, but still the same difference. The Statue of Liberty is an 11-pointed star, which represents Edom, the 11 dukes of Edom. And yeah, if you want more on this, I'm not going to go anymore. Watch that video on Apollo, the false light Messiah. Just want to point that part out. Now going back, let's go up and let's look at a couple of points here. Let's look at verse 13. Verse 13, we see Zerah, right? Then verse 17. Here we go. Duke Zerah, right? Well, in the Septuagint, 17b, we see that, where is his name? Right here, spelled different, but still the same name, Zerah, or Zerah, one of the sons of Esau. So, okay, that lines up. But the thing about this is that for he himself was the son of his father, Zerah, one of the sons of Esau. This is talking about Joab. Well, who is Joab? We're in the book of Job. Maybe it's talking about Job. And this is the funniest thing about it. I hear people denying that Job's an Edomite and say, well, I don't agree with it's just in the Septuagint, blah, blah, blah. Well, I got something to show you, because Job is known as being Joab, which makes sense. It's the same name. Job is just short for Joab, I'm saying, or it says it says who was called Job, right? So hold on, let me see. All right, we go back to verse 33. And Bela died, and Joab, the son of Zerah, reigned in his stead. So Job is just named Joab in chapter 36 for the Edomites bloodline. In Job, 100% is actually mentioned. You don't even technically need the Septuagint if you understand that Job is also Joab. All right here, all lines up. And it says that he reigned in the stead, right? So he was a king. Well, guess what? That's what the Septuagint says. It's different spelling, but just how it says Bela, or, it's real similar names, we see the same thing. This is Bela. It says, and these were the kings who reigned in Edom. After Balak, Joab, who is called Job. It's the same thing. And after Bela died, Joab, the son of Zerah, reigned in his stead. Job was a king of the Edomites at one point, and he was a son of Edom of Esau. I think a grandchild of Esau. But Job was also called a servant of the Most High. He gave his life to the Most High. So this is, even at that, back in that day, the purpose of pointing this out is to show you it does not matter. Everyone brings up the verse, oh, Esau I have hated. Well, in the same book that it says Esau I have hated, he calls Job a servant of the Most High in the same exact book. So what does that tell you? That tells you it's not about what you were born as. It's about who you become. You're saying that, yeah, this is the last chapter, last verse of the book of Job in the Septuagint. But it's all there. Job is mentioned in chapter 36 of Esau's descendants. Right there. You can't even try to say, oh, well, this is only a Septuagint. No. Septuagint is a second witness of what information is already in the Bible. Clear as day right there. And last but not least, verse 24. And it says, Anna, this was the Anna that found the mules in the wilderness as he fled the asses of Zebulun, his father. This is interesting. What's the point of this? There's got to be a point of them putting this. Well, this detail is found in Jasher 36. Let's go to it. Jasher 36, verse 28 to 35. And the sons of Shabal was Avan. Let's get to the point. Anna. There we go. Here we go. And this was that Anna that found the Yemen in the wilderness when he fled the asses of Zebulun, his father. Same exact thing, right? This was, was quoting Genesis. So we're in the right spot. So let's read what happened. Obviously, there's a reason why they wrote it. And while he was feeding his father's asses, he led them to the wilderness at different times to feed them. And there was a day that he brought them to one of the deserts on the seashore, opposite the wilderness of the people. And while he was feeding them, behold, a very heavy storm came from the other side of the sea and rested upon the asses that were feeding there, and they all stood still. And afterwards, about 120 great and terrible animals came out from the wilderness at the other side of the sea. And they all came to the place where the asses were, and they placed themselves there. And those animals, listen up, from their middle downward were in the shape of the children of men. So from the middle, I guess you could say the waist down, looked like a man, legs of a man. And from their middle upward, some had the likeness of bears, and some the likeness of hyenas. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Cheetahs, maybe, with tails behind them from between their shoulders, reaching down to the earth, like the tails of the, like I said, I don't know what animals he's talking about here. And these animals came and mounted and rode upon these asses and led them away, and they went away unto this day. I don't know what I don't even know the imagination in my mind with this story. You can imagine what you want, how they looked. And one of these animals approached Anna and smote him with his tail, and then fled from that place. And when he saw this work, he was exceedingly afraid of his life, and he fled and escaped to the city. And he related to the sons and brothers all that had happened to him, and many men went to seek the asses, but could not find them. And Anna and his brothers went no more to that place from that day following, for they were greatly afraid of their lives. Have what you want with that story, but that is the conclusion of this Torah portion. What is this? Week 8. Thank y'all for joining me once again. Shabbat Shalom. I pray y'all are all well in your paths. Stay vigilant this week, and I pray to see y'all next week, starting with chapter 37, the dream of Joseph.